first of all, what is a seal? Now, Welsh is much more sensible and has completely different words that don't cause confusion. But in English, seal, sorry, it's not the marine mammal. We're talking about the other types. Seal is used in English to refer both to an object made of a hard material, the matrix or die, into which has been engraved or cast text, the legend, as sigillographers call it, and a motif, the design. It's also used to refer to the impression made in soft material by the matrix. Now, in the Middle Ages, most matrices were made of metal. They could be made of stone or bone, and sometimes even wood, but mainly they're made of metal. And they take two main forms. The flat, so-called flat stamp. This is face down, so you can't see the engraving, but it's got this little loop on the back. And in the 14th and 15th centuries, a style with a taller handle starts to become prevalent. Again, you can see the hole at the top, and you can thread a chain or a cord through it and link it up to your belt or your purse. And you can see on this one, it's quite worn. Probably it's been hanging off somebody's belt for quite a while. And this is the face of a matrix. It's that sort of style. It's not that one. This is actually up in the exhibition. It's a 19th century replica of the medieval seal of Tally Abbey, and it's from National Museum, Cardiff. So if I'd like to go and have a look at this, it is for the duration of the exhibition here in Aberystwyth instead of down in Cardiff. Now, what you don't get from these slides is the scale. Most of these are really very small items. But rather than just put it next to a penny, you can see this is quite typical. They're very small, and I've said and easy to lose because they mainly have suspension loops, but the cords broke or the chain broke, or you just happen to drop it out of your purse or pack. And David Williams, whose work was mentioned, has done quite a lot of work on where matrices have been found in Wales, and the majority of the seal matrices are found near thoroughfares. You can imagine how annoying it would be, you know when you lose your car keys or your credit card. You can imagine somebody getting home after a long trek through the countryside, getting back, thinking, oh, I'm back safely, and then discovering when they sat down to have lunch somewhere by the side of the road, their seal matrix dropped off. And we do find a lot of these. Sometimes you find the suspension loop worn right through, so extremely irritating, as I say, as you can imagine. Now, some matrices, and these might be the more familiar, take the form of a ring, the so-called signet ring. Signet just means little seal, but it is a term that's used mainly for rings engraved as seals. This is a fantastic example that was found in 1998 near Raglan in Monmouthshire. It's gold, which is actually quite unusual because it's a soft material. It's also very large, and it's probable that it was designed to be worn over gloves. Either that or Welshmen in the Middle Ages had exceptionally large hands. This is on display in the National Museum, Cardiff. So if you are down there, it's worth going to have a look. They have a selection of matrices on display in their Origins gallery. There is a signet ring on display upstairs in the current exhibition that's made of silver. And again, you can see the loop of it is quite large, probably intended to be worn over gloves. A few seal matrices were designed not just to make an impression on one bit of soft material, but to make an impression on both sides. They're specially designed, and as you can see, they've got little pegs on one side, holes in the other, so it fits and it won't slip, and then you trap your soft material between the two. And again, if you'd like to go and have a look at an example, it is a modern example. As a medievalist, I shudder at the thought, but it's a modern example upstairs in the gallery. Now that's matrices. They're the objects which permanently retain. In reverse, and I think this is worth bearing in mind, in reverse, usually very small, but text and motifs. What we're studying for our project, and the majority of the material up in the current exhibition, are the impressions made by the matrices into a soft material, and these impressions are attached to a document. The material that's used, I don't know if any of you have seen, I don't think they're available here, but in a lot of gift shops, in the Cadw shops or in country houses, sticks of what's sold as sealing wax with a little wick through it. Not true sealing wax, I'm afraid. Sorry. True sealing wax, as used in the Middle Ages, is principally beeswax, usually mixed with a little bit of resin, and often coloured. The principal colours for medieval seals are red, which, from the small amount of work that's been done on analysing the composition, seems to be mainly vermilion. Quite an expensive dye, but as you can see, it produces lovely bright red colour, and you'll see reds and oranges and a lot of the seal impressions in the exhibition. Green, which is verdigris, quite cheap and easy to produce. Again, comes out with quite a nice rich colour. And brown seals that are the analysis, that's one of the principal papers on seal analysis was done way back in 1914, and they very helpfully say unidentifiable organic matter, so could be anything. But those are the principal colours, and sometimes you'll get seals which have no colouring, and they're much more prone to damage and wear than coloured seals. They also don't look quite as impressive. Again, when you go and have a look, as I hope most of you will, at the exhibition, you'll see quite how striking the colours are. Now, you mix up your beeswax and your resin and you add your colour, and in advance, beeswax is lovely material. It goes very soft, or in fact liquid if you warm it enough, and then it cools down. And it becomes plastic at 32 degrees C, so you can mould it. And you make we make a sort of sausage, and you cut it up into these discs, or you cheat as I did here, and you use little confectioner's moulds because it's easier. And if you want to attach it to a document and keep the seal with the document, one of the main ways is to have it pendant, hanging down. And you get two of your cakes of wax and you squish them together. You trap the attachment between them, and then you'd put your matrix into that while the wax is still soft.